Hi everybody, it's Sherry here from Inspired by Fitness, and today is day number 3 of Perfect Our Forms. So, today we have 3 different exercises and movements that we want to talk about today. So the first one is the single leg hip raise, okay? Then we have skull crushers and we have push-ups. So let's get to it. So, the single leg hip raise, we're going to start on the ground. All right, so the traditional hip raise, okay, is hands down by your side, knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor, shoulder width apart, core is engaged. So I'm pulling that belly button into my spine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the core in, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to lift the hips, I'm going to squeeze the glutes. We all feel this in the hamstrings and the glutes. I'm going to squeeze the glutes and down almost to the floor, and then back up, exhale, and squeeze. All right, so how we're going to transition this to the single leg is I'm going to bend one knee, all right, and I'm going to keep it bent. This is going to help really force the exercise and the tension into the back chain on this supporting leg here, in the hamstrings and into the glute. What I really want to try to do is as I lift my hips, I push through my heel. And then again, that's going to force it into the back chain. So my hands are on the floor. Now my hands are nice and loose and relaxed. I don't want to try to push off the floor with my arms to help lift my hips, okay? So I'm laying down, arms are by my side, relaxed. My core is engaged. I'm going to exhale and I'm going to lift up, lifting my hips, pushing through the heel of the supporting leg. I'm going to hold, squeeze the glutes. I'm going to come down almost to the floor. Deep breath in, core's engaged, and exhale up, squeeze. I can bring that knee in a little bit more towards my chest, really making sure that it's just the one leg that's really working for me, focused on the glute and the hamstring. I can now extend the leg if you like. We're going to go down and up, squeeze, hold, and down. Okay? So that there is the single leg hip raise. And then you would do it, of course, on the other side, pushing through that heel. Second exercise we're going to talk to you about is the skull crusher. So, we're going to lay down on your back. The skull crusher, what it looks like is I'm going to come down past my ears and straight up. Down and up. That's what the skull crusher looks like. It isolates the tricep muscle, all right? So what I'm going to do is when I start off learning this move, I'm going to start with just one arm. This free arm, this hand is going to come and support the upper arm. So when you do the skull crusher, the shoulder to elbow wants to stay stationary, and from the elbow through the forearm to the wrist, this is the only part of the arm that wants to move. So you're going to hinge on the elbow joint. All right, so it's going to hinge down. The weight is going to come down by my head towards my ear and then straight up to the ceiling. All right, when you get up here, you want full range of motion. Just don't lock out that elbow. All right, so you still want full range, but you want to keep some tension on the tricep muscle, and you don't want to be locked out where the weight is resting and then my tricep is loose, okay? So there should always be a little tension on the muscle. As you notice, when I'm holding my arm, I'm keeping it nice and stationary. I'm keeping it still, all right? A very common error with the skull crusher is as we progress and we get tired or the weights get heavier, we start to move the upper arm. Now we're starting to engage other muscles that we're not trying to work, all right? So if we're just trying to isolate the tricep, arms stay still, all right? Once we have the correct sensation of how our arm should feel, we can grab a second weight and try with both arms. So here we are. Arms are straight up, core is engaged. We're going to bring them down towards the ears and straight up to the ceiling. All right? Good way to practice is in the mirror, making sure you're looking at your upper arms and are they coming this way or going this way, all right? We want to keep them nice and still, up and down. And exhale. Down slow, have control, and exhale. Good. All right, another common mistake with the skull crusher is as we get tired or the weights get heavier, your elbows want to flare out, all right? So trying to force them together, you'll also put more pressure into the tricep muscle and isolate that muscle a little bit more. Okay, so single leg hip raise we did, the skull crusher we did. We're now moving on to the push-up, everybody's favorite exercise. So, just like the plank, the push-up has a lot of variations, all right? So we're gonna keep it simple today, and then know from there we can modify it however, all right? Mind-muscle connection, we talked about this on Monday and how crucial mind-muscle connection is, right? So when we do a push-up, ideally we want to feel it through the pecs, through the chest muscle. A lot of times we feel it a lot in the arms, they do assist, but a lot of times we feel it in the shoulders or maybe in the back, okay? We want to feel it in your chest. So a good way to make sure that we're engaging the pec muscles is actually starting on the ground, all right? So I'm going to start on the ground, flat down, and I'm going to lift my hands. So I'm going to lift my arms and down. As I lift my arms, you'll see my shoulders retract, and I'm squeezing the shoulder blades and down. One more time, up and down. So when I'm doing the push-up and I'm pushing up, I want to think about keeping my shoulders back. All right, so here I am, and I'm pushing up, keeping my shoulders back. A very common error with push-ups is we push and we try to get higher and our shoulders start rounding. And when we start to round, this part of the shoulder drops down, the traps in the back start to round, our shoulder blades, okay? And now we start engaging a lot of other muscles that we're not trying to focus on, all right? We want to keep it into the pecs. Okay, so that's keeping the shoulders back. Push-up engages so many muscles. As much as it's a chest exercise, we also have core. So yesterday we perfected the plank, which today we're going to use the plank and put it into the push-up, right? So when we do, we're going to start on our knees when we do the push-up here, okay? So what I'm going to do is keep a nice straight line from my shoulders to my hips to my knees. All right, my core is engaged, so I'm going to pull my tummy in. My shoulders are coming back, right? I'm retracting the shoulders back, and then we're going to go down and up. But what about hand placement? Another question we get is, where do I put my hands, right? Good question. So we're going to bring our arms out to the side, then forward, flex your wrist, and bring it back. Okay, this is where we want our hands to be. Now, with that being said, we want our, you see my elbows here? We want our elbows in a nice comfortable position. As we perfect the push-up, there's a lot of variations, as I said. So the closer your elbows get to the side, the more emphasis it puts onto the tricep. If your arms start flaring out like this, your elbows, puts a lot of pressure into the shoulder joint and can cause impingement through the shoulder. So what we want to do is find that nice happy medium where you feel nice and comfortable, our shoulders are back, and so when we push, we're going to engage the chest, okay? So let's start down on the ground. I have my shoulders retracted back, hands right under the shoulders, all right? I have it slightly to the side. Now I'm going to tuck my toes under, my core's engaged. I am going to go off my knees, okay? So, core's engaged. All right, here we go. Down and up. And down and up. Down and up. Okay, once you've mastered that, we can go up from your toes. But again, watching the shoulders, okay? We're going to go down and up, pushing through the chest. Core's engaged. I want everything in a nice straight line from the head down through the body. Nice straight line. You don't want to have your chin up too high. You don't want to tuck down, okay? A lot of common times, or a common error is we tuck our chin in and we go down. We try to get lower to the ground, but as you can see, my shoulders, they're rounded. My shoulder blades are rounded. So getting back to this position, my shoulders are back and retracted, and here we go, down and up, okay? All right, once we've mastered that, as I said, you can do a whole bunch of different variations of the push-up, but focus on the basics first. Okay? So that's it for today. Woo! Thank you for joining me. Day number 3, and we'll do a few more movements tomorrow. Okay, thanks for joining me. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us, inspiredbyfitness.ca. Okay, bye guys.